Our next speaker is going to be Colin Fenn. He will be doing the BI 4.1 demo. I just wanted to give you a little bit background on Colin. He's one of our solution consultants focused specifically on the financial services industry. In his position, he's worked with various financial institutions, banks, credit unions, insurance companies, and he shares best practices and helps customers uncover valuable business requirements. Now, before this role, Colin actually spent the past decade in the business intelligence industry. He worked as a lead developer for a startup that was acquired by Business Objects and then eventually SAP. Colin also spent time in IT deploying business analytics solutions. And when he's not speaking with customers, Colin actually enjoys playing piano in a Vancouver-based band. So if any of you have plans to come up to Vancouver, we can definitely get you tickets to one of his gigs. With that, I will pass it over to Colin.
Thanks, Sean. And thank you, Ted, for that really interesting background on financial services. Ted spoke about several key challenges in the financial services industry, things like mitigating risk, adapting to new regulations, reducing operating costs while driving profitable sales, also about knowing your customer better than your competitors. Today's demo will actually touch on many of these themes. You'll see three scenarios, each from different industries, and each leveraging a different aspect of the SAP Business Intelligence platform. So our first example will actually be from the banking industry. Now, Judy is an executive for a regional U.S. bank. Now, she's often on the road, traveling for business without easy access to a laptop or a desktop. However, Judy still wants to be actively involved in decision-making. And to make decisions, as Ted outlined, you need access to up-to-date real-time information. Now, Judy's organization recently invested in SAP Business Intelligence 4, so this means she can access her management reports from almost anywhere using her mobile device. Now, her mobile device of choice is actually an iPad, but her colleagues could easily use their iPhones or BlackBerries or Android devices. Now, as you can see, it's easy for her to navigate to a relevant report, and from here she gets an easy snapshot of every aspect of her business. Now, it's also easy for you to filter your view and focus on what's really important. Here you can also see how loans and deposits are tracking compared to the previous period. And actually over in the top right-hand side, there's also a list of all the key risk metrics. So whatever key performance indicators are relevant for you, you can capture those and visualize them in your mobile interface. And double tapping on any individual item brings it into focus. And here we can actually use a slider to focus in on the area that we're interested in, tap on the actual chart to see the values. Now, earlier Ted was talking about risk, so let's actually take a look at some of the other reports included in this particular view. And there's a retail risk management report. Let's click on that. And this particular document contains a number. For instance, we're taking a look at loans that are past due into different buckets, 30, 60, and 90 days. Now, looking at the numbers, Judy's concerned about an unfavorable sort of shift. And so she decides to email a copy of this report to one of her employees, and she circles the areas within commercial loans that are of interest. She can even annotate it further by putting in some comments so that her employee knows exactly what she's interested in or concerned about in this case. And she can do all this from her mobile device, whether she's in the office or outside the office. It allows her to have that decision-making power regardless of where she is. She'll share this via email. It will actually embed an image of the report itself, as well as links to it, so that her employee can actually click on those links and go exactly to that. So next, who did she send it to? Well, Ken in commercial loans. And he's actually traveling as well. And in fact, he's visiting one of his key clients. But has a moment to take a look at Judy's email on his mobile phone. And he opens it up and examines the annotations that she made. And then he decides to view the reports that she referenced automatically in her email. That was done automatically for her. So he'll just click on a link. And now Ken can see exactly what Judy saw. All the different charts within that report. He can do his own analysis. The only difference is that this same report is now optimized for Ken's smaller mobile phone screen. So automatically detected that he was on a smaller mobile device. So taking a look now at the commercial loans past due, you can see the ones that have increased from period over period. Now let's say Ken wants to explore his loan portfolio further, and he wants to get to the bottom of this issue. Now, without IT intervention, Ken selects the commercial loans data sources and starts navigating through his loan portfolio. First, he selects additional measures, so that he can take a look not just at the current period, but previous and the change. And then he decides to focus in on large enterprises, because as you can see, it clearly makes up the largest portion of his loans overdue. Looks at the different buckets, drills into the 90 days. And this is interesting. Now he can see the 4 regions, and let's just change the orientation here. So now you can see west, east, north, and south. And from here, you can see that west by a long shot has the highest number and also the biggest change. So let's drill into all of the accounts within west. Now, if you want to, you can change a couple of things on the screen just to make it easier, because we're dealing with a mobile report, so we want to be as versatile as possible. And so he changes it to a bar chart that's kind of on the side, and he also just wants to focus in on one measure, so we can remove the ones that he added earlier. And now you can easily see the top ones, and we'll call this the 5 most wanted. And then he can click on those and send it via email to his accounts payable section, saying, hey, these ones have increased period over period, and these are the top 5. He can then email this to the accounts payable division and also CC his boss, so she's aware of what's going on. Okay, so you've seen a little bit in terms of the mobile side. The high-level view is that customers want the entire process simplified. They want one-stop shopping for all their information needs. One system to help provide transparency and accountability. So any data, anywhere, anytime, on any device. So our second example is actually from the insurance side. And here we go. So we're going to follow Jennifer as she analyzes her firm's customer base. Now, she has a theory about profitability and costs for specific customer segments. And she wants to go in and take a look at, see if that follows her theory. So we'll log in. Now, you can log in via single sign-on against Active Directory or LDAP so that your end users never get prompted for a username and password. This is just to show you that it is a secure solution. And from here, we're actually going to open up an application called Explore. Explore is innovative in that it allows keyword search. It also allows you to jump to any of the data sources that you might want to use or upload an Excel spreadsheet. So back to our story with Jennifer, she's interested in, let's say, taking a look at losses for particular customers, maybe single males who have no children. She just feels that there may be a greater risk for this particular segment and wants to take a look. So this searches through the metadata in your business intelligence system, and it actually ranks things according to the most relevant data source. And you can see the ranking. This is similar to the way Google indexes the World Wide Web. Let's choose the first link, and you're going to notice that there's a few things that are automatically put up here. Now, first of all, the measure loss incurred was automatically selected for you. It's also done a best guess of what it thinks you want to see in the regions, showing all the different dimensions, but the ones that you specified in your keyword search. Let's add another measure to it, and now we can see both the loss incurred versus premiums. So we're kind of going beyond her original question, but we want to do a little bit of a comparison. And then you can go and drill down on no children, drilling down on single, on the male, and again, comparing each of them as you go. So this is kind of interesting. Take a look at the different regions. It looks like West is the only one that has losses incurred which are greater than the actual. Let's actually take a look at a ratio. Folks in insurance are always looking at ratios. So this allows you to create calculations on the fly. They could have been included already within your the metadata for this particular data source, but if they're not, it's really easy to create a calculation. And now quickly and easily you can see that the ratio for losses to premiums for West is quite a bit higher than the other ones. Let's drill back up. We can compare it with the other regions, but the best performing region is Southeast. Can drill down on this area. If you're interested in seeing more of a visual kind of representation, you can click on Visualize, and it hides kind of that filter bar that we had up at the top, or minimizes it. We can also change the charts if you want to see something more, displayed more as a geography. Here we can do color coding so that we can see that loss ratios are having a high loss ratio is bad, indicated by red. Other ones indicated in sort of medium colors going to green. We can also drill down on any state to go down to the individual regions. And multiple selecting allows you to do just that. See it both on the graphic as well as on the chart. And if you're colorblind like me, you probably prefer something like a little bubble chart. And that works in any of the modes, whether you're looking at the state level or city level. And you can pivot your data so that you're taking a look at more than one region, easily switching between different regions. But you're also able to create a composite view, almost like a snapshot and a multifaceted dashboard. And here we can grab any of the different elements that we want and drag them and drop them onto our screen. This allows us to quickly kind of see more than one perspective of the data on the screen at the single time. And for instance, let's say you want to take a look at age segment. So now you're looking at, rather than by state, you're looking at by age segment. You can also go and choose another measure that you're interested in seeing, maybe something like expenses and losses incurred. And you can also easily change the visuals that are being displayed. So rather than a bar chart, maybe something like a multiple pie chart. And you can easily add a legend as well. Now from here, let's actually add another visual before we share it out with anyone else. And we'll change this one to just losses incurred. And rather than see it by the different states, let's go in and similar to what we did before, we'll actually change it to another kind of segment. So looking at annual income. And we'll change the visual as well. So once you've got all the visualizations that you want, you can kind of hide that sidebar, resize things to suit your needs. You can move things around if you want to as well. It's really easy to do that. But this is really the power. You can share this off with end users, or you can filter it yourself, filter the view, all of our different areas by just those data points, so you can see the charts and the tables changing. This is kind of interesting. So for males, the highest kind of earning income is have the highest losses or loss ratio. For females, it doesn't. And you can also drill back up and maybe change the region, say, test your hypothesis for central or some other area. Or maybe you have a particular region that you want to investigate that doesn't tie into the scope that's normally used. So here you can see it's quite different, the demographics for that particular element. So really this is to help demonstrate kind of the ease of use of Explorer, the ability to create this content, to filter it, and then we'll also share it. A big step of anything isn't just going through and creating the content like we did here as an analyst, but also sharing it out. And here we'll say this is customer segmentation, and you're saving it to the business object platform so you know it's secure. And then based on other end user rights, they'll be able to log into the system and actually go and view the actual content. Let's go to that custom builds folder and open up that dashboard. And from here, your end user can do more analysis, maybe take it in a slightly different direction than what you chose initially, and maybe focusing on other areas. In our third scenario, we'll talk a little bit about interactive reporting, something related to capital markets. This last example will actually follow Ryan as he creates some new reports for his trading team. Now, he wants to create a report that analyzes firms' fixed income portfolio. So he selects a template with the most common report elements. From here, using the easy-to-understand interface, he drags and drops sections or sectors and the market value onto his report. And to add a visualization, he's simply clicking on the visual that he wants and drops it down into the screen. You can choose the elements you want, again, dragging and dropping just like you did earlier. Now, tooltips are automatically created for the percentage and the value, making it easy for you to just snap in the different pieces. Brian wants to drill down into details. He can go to the Analyze bar and then drill down. You can see the user interface is kind of simplified up top. You got the banded listing of different groupings, making it easier for you to find the content that you're interested in. No more deep properties tables. Let's duplicate the report and then actually go in and change a couple of things. So we could go in and move things around. We can add more measures or dimensions. In this case, let's add gain or loss into our view. And let's actually change the chart, and we'll give you a little bit of a view of all the different chart types as well. So there's a couple of the most common ones are displayed there, but there's a whole bunch of other ones that have been introduced. Pies with variable slice depth, point charts, bubble charts, polar plots, radar charts, tag clouds, which are quite cool, waterfall charts, which are great for projects, the typical bar charts, box plots. In this case, let's actually choose a column chart. And we'll choose one that has dual axis. This means that we could put two measures that have a different scale, something like gain or loss or market value or yield or something like that, onto the same chart. Let's actually hide the sidebar, kind of resize this so you've got as much real estate on your screen as possible. Great. So from here, we can actually see very easily which ones are performing well. Asset-backed securities, or ABS, are definitely in the loss category. Municipal bonds are in the gain category. Luckily, ABSs don't make up a huge portion of the portfolio, but let's actually drill down on them anyways and just see what's going on. And actually, most of it comes from one particular security type, and you can drill down on that right down to the ticker level. Now, depending on your data, obviously, you're going to have different hierarchies. You can have different metadata. Business objects can encapsulate that customized for your hierarchies, for your drill paths, so that when you drill up and down on your data, it's intuitive for you and your end users. This means it's very easy for you to kind of navigate and understand the data. Okay, let's say there's a situation where one of the metrics that you want is not available in the actual template. It's very easy for you to connect back to the data source and provide that element. And one of the new things in Business Intelligence 4 is the fact that you can pull data from multiple data sources. So for instance, we're pulling in ticker, yield, gain or loss. Maybe that average yield is actually coming from a different data source. And it's completely transparent to the end user. They just see measures, they see dimensions, and they're able to use those, making it easier for you to maintain from an IT perspective, and also easier for your end users to comprehend that they go to one data source, regardless of where that might be segmented. Here we've created a bubble chart, which really quickly and easily shows us the gain or loss on the vertical axis, on the horizontal axis, or average yield. Now that may be all you want to see, but it's really easy to create filters so that your end users can filter by sector, let's say, or filter by yield, or filter by some sort of category. Here we'll choose a radio button, but there's also drop-down lists, checkboxes. If it was a date, we've got to have a date filter applied here. And now this means that when your end users come in, they don't need to be experts. They can just click on the different elements that they're interested in, whether it's agency, CMBS, corporate bonds. And actually, this is kind of interesting. So you can see a bubble down here. It's got a huge loss. Another one up above, about the same size. They have the same yield, but they actually have different values. Very different performance. Here's a couple of other different charts, really just to show you that you could take any of these reports, you can schedule them out, you can burst them or personalize them to recipients. And also any of these reports can be embedded in your applications. They could be your internal apps, your internal portal, or even a customer-facing website. understanding your customer better, getting to know them better. This could be a part of creating innovative solutions for your customer. So when they're taking a look at their own portfolio, it's not just a static snapshot. They actually have interactivity to see how they're performing against the benchmark. SAP's got a very balanced approach when it comes to solutions. It's built on a solid foundation for information management. So you have accurate data, you've cleansed errors and redundancy, and you have a complete single version of the truth. As well, you've got this innovative user experience. It leverages your existing investment in business objects. You can see the information displayed in an easy-to-understand format and anywhere you are on any device. And with SAP, you also have peace of mind. So you've got a secure BI platform that you can rely on. And kind of tying back to the themes that Ted spoke about, this will allow you to become more agile, respond more quickly to changes in your regulatory environment, new risks, also more transparent and efficient, drive accountability throughout your organization. You saw some examples where people were able to, with their mobile devices, follow up on things immediately rather than waiting till later, and you have this trail of accountability. And also be more innovative by better understanding your customer, anticipating instead of reacting, driving new opportunities for new products.
Great. Thank you, Colin. Really appreciate you showing 4.1. So you've seen 4.1. Now probably the next question is, how do I get it?